Hello everyone and welcome to WGBS TV Live, brought to you by SupermanHomepage.com, the #1 Superman fan site in the world. My name is Steve Eunice. In this, our December 4th, 2018 show, we're going to be covering a range of topics, including Supergirl, the upcoming Elseworlds crossover, very excited about that, and we're going to be talking about comic books and more. We'll also be turning to you to take your questions and comments on any particular Superman topic you'd like to discuss. And to let you know how all that works as he adjusts himself in his chair, Mr. Michael Bailey. Hey, Mike.
Hey, Steve, how's it going? Now, since WGBS Live is all about Superman, we want to hear from the Superman fans that are watching us live on Facebook. So around the halfway mark of the show, and if we don't have too much on the docket, which tonight's looking like a pretty packed night, we will try to start taking your calls. Now, to do this, you're going to need Skype. Go to Skype, find Superman homepage, and message us. Please, first, message us. Tell us you want to be part of the show, and if we have time, we will get to you. And if we do have you on the line, please remember to turn all speakers and stuff down, because there is a bit of a delay, and that sounds weird.
Yes, it does indeed. And for those of you tuning in live via Facebook to watch tonight's show, below or next to that video, we invite you to post your comments and ask questions. Michael and I will keep an eye on those comments to react to them as the show continues. And yes, it is Michael. It is not Neil Bailey who joined us last week. Thank you, Patrick, in the comments there. And a huge thank you to our sponsor and patron, our only sponsor and patron at this point in time, Douglas Meacham. Doug, we appreciate your support. Well, Michael, you weren't with us last week because you were at the screening, the 40th anniversary screening of Superman the movie, there in, I think you're in Atlanta, aren't you?
I am about an hour away from Atlanta. Okay. I went to a screening in a town called Noonan, which is a nearby city, which was kind of the closest of the theaters in the area that were carrying it. So, it was... I have to say this, first and foremost. One, there was no Fleischer cartoon, so I'm going to get that complaint out of the way. I was really disappointed in that. I don't know if that was something that Fathom announced and then all the theaters didn't get. So, two, there were some sound difficulties in the introduction, which was annoying, but after that, it was like seeing the film for the first time again. There are things that you notice when it is that big in front of you that you don't notice. The thing that struck me the most was after the opening credits, which are stunning, when you're going through space, it really feels like the stars are going past you when you're in a theater, and not sitting there watching it on your big screen television or your phone or whatever. And it was just, there were things like, here's something I never noticed before. There are other cities on Krypton. Like, in the background, there are cities. And now I'm wondering who was on those cities and all that. It's just like, but I didn't notice it except for the big screen. The other thing that I noticed that I never noticed before is that Miss Teschmacher did have a city in Lex Luthor's plans. It was Teschmacher Peaks. And it was just like, okay, I've never seen that before, and that I just started laughing in the theater, just losing it. But no, just everything about seeing it. It was a really good print. It was a theatrical cut, which I haven't actually. I realized I hadn't seen a theatrical cut in so long because I'm so used to like the extended editions that it was a little weird. But the print they had, his costume looked amazing. The red and the blue just popped on the screen. So it was so worth going to see, and I'm so glad I did it.
Patrick's asking, did you see the middle passenger in the back seat of Brad's convertible?
I know that there were other people in there. I didn't specifically see anybody, so I don't know if that's somebody that's someone that went on to be famous, or is like Richard Donner there?
Let us know, Patrick. Yeah, I'm not sure about where he's going with that one. With Patrick, you never know. But I envy you. I know that there were people who did see the Fleischer animated cartoon in front of Superman the movie at some theaters, so and others didn't. So it's obviously a random pick thing. I don't know what happened there, why some got it and others didn't. There seemed to be some screens of some trivia questions and things or facts. Yes. Cool.
Yeah. That was the intro thing. I took pictures of all of them. Mm-hmm. Which with my phone isn't like the best of quality, but I did. There were some good facts and trivia in there. So it was kind of once it started, it was kind of an engaging thing. Though they did cycle through the questions several times.
Oh, okay.
So
there you go. And I believe that's it now. The Fathom events screenings of the 40th anniversary of Superman the movie are done. December 3rd, I think, was the last one. So if you were lucky enough to be able to get to, or September 2nd, one of the December 2nd, if you got to see a screening of Superman the movie for the 40th anniversary, I'm so happy for you. Some people never got to see it on the big screen. Others haven't seen it in a very, very long time. Sadly, it was not done outside the US that I know of. Nothing in Canada, nothing in Europe, nothing here in Australia. So very disappointed for those fans, including myself, but very happy for the fans who did get to see it, especially the new 4K print and everything like that. So really happy for you, Michael, that you got to go along with your wife and see that on the big screen. It must have, as you said, felt like you were watching it again for the first time.
It was amazing. But that is not the most amazing thing we're going to be talking about tonight. There is so much awesome stuff.
Yes, indeed.
That is either coming or has happened or it's just like this. We've had like a couple months here where things were kind of slow, but now everything's really popping. Yeah,
well, before we jump away from Superman the movie, I received an email and then a phone call from a writer for Playboy.com. Not one of the websites that you imagine would be doing an article on Superman's 40th anniversary of the movie, but they do these kind of articles along the way, and they're not just a risque magazine, if you like. They do publish some pretty in-depth articles. And Adam Howard, the writer, contacted me. We spoke for about half an hour on the phone, long distance, as we chatted about Superman the movie and why it's endured and why it's still very relevant today. And that article is now up on their website with a number of quotes from myself, which I was very happy with, that are included in the article. It's a pretty good read, so if you're interested, head to our website and you'll be able to find the link to the Playboy article on Superman the movie's 40th anniversary.
Yeah, it used to be the joke that men would say, well, I read Playboy for the articles, but Mark Waid was writing like reviews of the Flash television series for Playboy.com back. So it's the website's really different from the magazine.
Yes.
But no, I was really excited to see that you had got to do that, and well deserved, sir. So congratulations.
Thank you very much. And it's just online. It's not in print, so it won't be in the magazine. So don't worry, you don't have to feel awkward going into the news agency and picking up a copy of Playboy if that's not your thing. It is only available online. Why Superman the movie still flies high 40 years later is the title of the article, and it was published December 3rd, so it's relatively new, so go and check it out if you have the time. That's I was really pleased with that interview and came off pretty well. I was happy. You never know how they're going to quote you sometimes and what you're going to say. It's always a little bit risky, but I was really pleased with the way that article turned out.
Yeah, it was, again, very well done, sir.
Thank you. Now, thanks. Now, an interesting one that it was about a week ago, just after I was on the show last week with Neil. This Instagram account, Morphe_me, has created a really impressive image combining Christopher Reeve's Superman with Henry Cavill's Man of Steel. I don't know what application they use, but I'm pretty impressed with it. I'm going to put up the image now of the image that he's created. So it morphs together the two actors using the Henry Cavill suit, but obviously he's brightened up the colours in the suit. But you can definitely see a combination of both actors in this image. A lot of people go, oh, it's just Christopher Reeve. But it's definitely Henry Cavill's nose. It's definitely Henry Cavill's eyebrows, as in like the creases above his nose there. It's more of Henry Cavill's hair, although it's got the spit curl. I'm really impressed. I just really want to know what software he used to create this.
Yeah, again, it's a little disappointing that in some of the shots in the film itself, the costume doesn't pop as well as it does in this picture. Because when you brighten those colors, it's not brightened like extremely. It's not like Superman the movie bright, but the red and the blue definitely look a lot better. Here's the thing and I think a couple of years ago, somebody put all of the Supermen together, all of the people, and made one face out of that. And I think the reason why it looks so good is because structurally most Supermen have the same facial features. They have different hair, maybe like you said, the nose, the eyes, the eyebrows, those are, those are definitely Christopher Reeve's eyebrows, but that's Henry Cavill's, like you said, his nose. So it's just there are things that are obvious there. But I think when you boil them all down to their essences, they all have the lantern jaw and, just the way their face is shaped. So when I saw this, I was just oh, that makes perfect sense that they would look, kind of well blended together.
No, it's a great image. And, I've seen combinations before that people have done where they've used certain software packages to put all the different Superman actors and to come up with the perfect Superman face, but this was just impressive, and I was really pleased with the outcome of it. And kudos to Morphe Me for the image, which went viral, and a lot of people had a look at it and checked it out. So well done to him. Now, I think that's all we wanted. Yeah, it's everything on the movie front. So. We can jump straight into Supergirl on the television, and you posted your review of Bunker Hill, which was episode 8 of season 4, and quite literally the final episode for the mid-season, before the mid-season break, although obviously Supergirl is part of the crossover next week. But you could tell it was that kind of mid-season finale where they really tied up a lot of the storylines that have been playing out to date. I really enjoyed the episode, but like you, I had a number of issues where it just took me out of the story for a moment, because I was like, what? How?
Yeah.
Huh? That what? Some of it confused me, because I'm thinking either I'm stupid or everybody at DEO knows Kara has who Kara is.
This is the thing, is the more I thought about it afterwards, because as usual we watched it on Sunday. I just couldn't get to writing the review on Sunday, so I had a full day almost to kind of digest the episode, and I'm driving home from work, just planning the review in my head, and the more I thought about it, I'm like, this doesn't make a lick of sense. This really doesn't. I mean, we're going to go beyond her flying the building, which was cool in concept, but wow, that was the worst special effect of the entire series. And that's including Red Tornado from the first season. But the more I thought about it, it's okay. And I was trying to, cycle back and remember the show. It's hasn't Kara walked around the DEO as Kara? All of these agents are walking around seeing her. They're hearing everybody talk because they're having very loud conversations. One, why does anyone think she has a secret identity?
Right.
She has no mask. There has been no hint that she has another life. She has never gotten in an interview and said, well, I'm keeping my identity secret, so blah, blah, blah. Well, but now it's just okay, her leaving the DEO is fine, because it's perfect for the tone of this season, and how they're breaking everything apart. But everybody there, or at least most of the people there, probably know she's Kara, and the whole secret identity thing now feels a little hollow.
yeah, it just kind of was played for drama, but it kind of everyone that I've spoken to was like, but like you said, they've never played up the whole secret identity thing at the DEO before. She's walked around. I'm sure. I mean, I felt like I need to go back and rewatch episodes or just scan through them this season or even last season, because I'm sure she's walked around, as he said, as Cara Danvers at the DEO, and that, you know, Alex has talked about her sister, you know, and that she's her sister and all this kind of things, and Supergirl at the DEO. So I'm pretty sure everybody there, which is why when that agent a couple of weeks back helped Mercy and Otis and switch sides, I was thinking, he's going to reveal her secret identity to them. But it's almost like the writers don't want us to think or think that we don't think that, which is strange to me, because it seemed pretty obvious that everybody there knew Kara was Supergirl, but obviously they don't, as far as this episode is concerned. As far as her lifting that building, it was kind of like, we can't show it in special effects, so we're going to do it in dialogue, where he says to her, Supergirl, stop struggling, it's nth metal, and she goes, I'm not struggling, I'm flying, because you can't tell that I'm flying, except for the fact that we're going to show the building lift up a bit and then drop. But if nth metal is that strong, then why does that break? Because is a building dropping a foot more powerful than Supergirl's power?
Yeah, it's one of those things where if the season hadn't been as good as it had been, I don't think I would have noticed or been as well, that was weird. And the episode itself had some really good moments to it, so it's not like those two things ruined everything for me. I just think that they made a few weird decisions, because it was all Agent Liberty at the end. He was the one that said, we don't know anything about her or who she is, and I'm like, why is he saying that? Like, we need to know more about her. Okay, that gets everybody thinking, right? Mm-hmm. And maybe it puts Kara in a position where the president doesn't necessarily want to know her secret identity, but wants to know her entire background, which is different in a really subtle way.
Yeah.
Because then he's looking for, like, Eliza and, getting into Alex, and what would that do to Alex's position? It's just like when they realize, they are sisters. Like, there's a difference between what is your secret identity and really thinking the ramifications of what. And here's the other thing. At what point did she become like a paid agent of the DEO? I thought she was always just kind of helping out. Like, she was there on an unofficial basis.
Well, it seems at the beginning of this season they wanted to pin her down at the DEO and make her an operative of the DEO, because they were saying, no, you can't go out on assignment without being actually told, that this is your job, or you did that unauthorized. You're unauthorized to take those actions. But I always thought she was just helping out at the DEO, especially when John was there. That's all it was just, you're helping out. You're part of the DEO, but it's not like she was ever under their jurisdiction only. She was still doing everything as she wanted to outside. She was just helping out as an advisor, as another helper. But here it's like, no, you're being fired. It was like, well, was I getting paid?
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. That is something that could have been easily fixed in a very early episode, with Colonel Haley going, we want to formalize your relationship with the DEO.
Yeah, right.
And that actually is like, and she would have said yes immediately, but then start thinking about the ramifications of it. Again, there's nothing here that's broken. It's just an inconsistency, in the fourth season where, like, people who, and there may be people who are completely new to the show, so they don't really think about this kind of thing. And there may be people who have fallen off of the show. I was talking to a couple friends recently. They're like, well, I fell off about halfway through season 2, but now I'm back. And really, I told them, you missed a lot, but you didn't miss anything that is essential for you to enjoy this season.
Mm.
So it's just really strange.
Yeah.
I liked the little thing between her and the president at the end, where he's just like, well, we don't want, we don't want war with Supergirl, and she basically says, no, you don't. And I'm just like, yeah, and her cousin's probably not going to be too happy with you either. And I'm sure he's got some clout. But that is all saying and complaining around a really phenomenal episode when it comes to Ben Lockwood.
Oh, yeah.
I said it the last time I was on. I'm going to say it probably until the end of the season. Whitwer is the MVP of this season. There was so much going on with him. Like at the beginning, he's just like, I don't want to be Agent Liberty anymore because I'm changing more minds and in a legitimate way than I am in a terrorist way. But Manchester Black completely forces the subject. So by the end, he has to kind of double down at that point. And really kind of make a go of it since his identity is public. And I was shocked that his wife supported him. I mean, it's interesting, but usually in these situations, it's the wife is like, oh, I don't know you, or, oh, how could you do all these horrible things? No, she's sitting there chanting, and I'm like, oh, that's dark.
Yeah, she turned. It was like, after everything that we've just been through, actually, I trust my husband, so I'm going to go with him on this, which was a dark turn for her. Everything with Nia was that whole element of the story was really good. Getting her background, getting her powers, coming to understand them and embrace them. And Supergirl or Kara almost giving away the fact that she has superpowers by saying, "Oh yeah, the more you use them, the more we use them, the better we get at them." And she's like, "Also, I've heard." That was so Nia's story was well played out, and the story in itself was well told. There were just certain elements that made it hard, that kind of dropped it a notch in my estimation as far as, if I was going to give it a rating, it would have been a points drop because of things that they kind of pulled on us that was like, took me out of the episode a bit.
Yeah, but then, you had that whole little teaser for the crossover, and several websites have done breakdowns of everybody in there, but the thing that when I was watching it and then rewound it on the DVR to really kind of focus in, when I saw the bright green outfit, I'm like, is that the Smallville Green Arrow? Dead? Okay, so this really is going to be a crossover of epic proportions.
Well, let's have a look at that snippet from the end of the Supergirl episode, which was set on Earth 90. We'll talk about that after we watch it. It goes for a couple of minutes, so check it out.
You failed.
Why are you doing this?
You did this to yourself. And now, all of you will perish.
So there you have it. That was the stinger at the end of the episode of Supergirl that will lead into Elseworlds. and we see the 90s Flash, played by John Wesley Shipp, who in the current Flash series plays Barry Allen's father, but obviously was the 90s Flash from the TV series, which went for one season, and that's where Earth 90 comes from. It was made in 1990, so a nice nod to that. And amongst the rubble, as you said, we see a lot of fallen heroes, not just what looked like Justin Hartley's Green Arrow, but there's Stargirl, Firestorm, Captain Cold, the Ray's helmet, and others. Really just kind of expanded the whole universe right there.
Not only Captain Cold, the Captain Cold from the 90s series is in there, the albino one, and it's just like it's one of those things where I don't really like to get into, especially on this show, like the whole Marvel versus DC or TV DC versus movie DC. But again and again and again, TV DC just keeps giving me what I want. You know, other people disagree. Other people like the DC cinematic universe. To be fair, Aquaman looks amazing. I'm kind of excited for that to come out. But on a total, like, fan, like, of the things that I liked in the comics that I've always wanted to kind of see brought to life, I got to see the Monitor from Crisis on Infinite Earths looking not cheesy at all, looking really good. Mm-hmm. And the Flash series that I loved so much, there was something that I thought about today, actually. There was an episode of The Flash from the 1990s where John Wesley Shipp Barry Allen is walking his dog, and he walks it by a theater that's showing a double bill of Superman the movie and the 89 Batman film. And I'm just like, okay, now he's actually got to fight these guys in some cases, or team up with them. But there's just something really cool about how the TV people, for whatever reason, their philosophy is not so much that everything counts, but we can make everything count. Mm-hmm. And just seeing, like, you know, the Firestorm from Legends of Tomorrow, that Stargirl could have been the Legends of Tomorrow Stargirl, that could have been Smallville Stargirl. They're pretty much the same costume. But just seeing all of that stuff, and now it makes me wonder, what are we going to see beyond what we've been shown? And I'm just so excited for next weekend, starting on Sunday. It's less than a week away. And how they managed to recreate, and again, this was a conversation I was having with a friend today, that Flash costume from the 90s, nothing against Grant Gustin and his performance, it's still the best looking live action Flash costume.
Yeah, no,
it really
is
sharp.
And you know, why these heroes are there, whether, you know, what Earth 90 is all about, we don't know. Whether they're all from Earth 90, I don't think it really matters. I don't think we're going to necessarily find out all the nitty gritty or the history about Earth 90. It really is just a nod to, hey, let's throw some things in there that DC fans will recognise. Others will just go, oh, there's obviously a lot of fallen heroes here. But, you know, whether that's actually Green Arrow from Smallville, whether the Smallville is Earth 90, like, we don't know any of these things. We just know that it's a nod to these characters and Easter eggs, if you like, for fans to get excited about just the scope of this thing.
John in the chat asked, what is that book? I have a feeling, I don't know this for sure, but I think it's going to probably end up being the Book of Destiny, which is a DC thing. It feels like a very Grant Morrison Final Crisis, these are all stories type of thing.
Right.
Which is probably how we're going to get the evil Superman that we're going to get in the black costume. So... and I'm going to point out, in the little banner that they released where there's all the characters, we get 2 Supermen, so at least TV people are giving them some respect.
Yeah, and we don't know any of the things, like John's also asking, will the parents from Smallville be in the crossover? We don't know who will be in the crossover. We don't know if Kara's parents or Clark's parents will be there. We don't know anything other than that they will be on the Kent farm. We know that much from the photos and images we've seen. Yes, it's the same Kent farm that was used in Smallville. We do know that Stephen Amell who posted a video on Facebook, had something about Smallville in there that he says is massive. I'm going to play that bit of the video of what he said right now, and then reiterate some of the things he said. I'm just going to get the video started, and then I'm going to quickly jump to the portion of the video where Amell talks about Smallville and its impact on this Elseworlds crossover.
Although I think it becomes pretty clear in the promos for the crossover that there are Smallville elements, at least in terms of location. And if you're a fan of Smallville, and I have no idea if they're going to keep this in the final cut, but there is a treat for you in there that I swear, full disclosure, I've never seen an episode of Smallville before. Sorry, I wasn't that into comic book TV shows when I was growing up. I've since seen a couple for very obvious reasons, but as someone who wasn't a diehard fan of Smallville, this moment in the crossover made me jump out of my seat. If you're a fan of Smallville, you may want to put down rubber sheets or something like that, because quite frankly, you might piss your pants.
So, quite frankly, you might piss your pants with the thing that they're going to show, if it's still in the final cut of what they're about to show. So, I don't know what that means.
Yeah, it's like one of those things where, they've said that, well, he posted a picture of him hanging out with Rosenbaum and Welling, and then was very quick to say, no, they're not in it.
That's right.
Now, is that a lie? Possibly, but I'm not counting on that. But I do, it was kind of funny to see him seem kind of embarrassed that he never watched Smallville before, that, it's not a prerequisite. Of course you watched the Green Arrow stuff. That just makes perfect sense. Just to kind of, if for any other reason to not do anything he did, to make it a separate thing. But I just think that they can almost, if this goes off the way I think it's going to, they could just stop. They could just, we could take a couple years off and then come back and do new versions of everything. But, it's just, I have not been, for a live action property of comic books, I have not been this excited since the Avengers in 2012. And that was just a huge deal, because it was the first big, team movie on the thing. I haven't been this excited for a DC thing. Well, I was really excited for Man of Steel. That went okay. But, it's just, everything about it screams that I am just going to be wigging out, and I'm going to have to watch things again and again, and I'm going to keep it on the DVR for as long as I can until it comes out on DVD or Blu-ray. And it's just, I'm glad that I'm going to be writing the reviews for them.
Mm-hmm. Yes, you'll be writing the 3 reviews for each of the 3 episodes. Now, we actually have the descriptions for the 3 episodes, and while I'm reading those out, I'm going to cycle through some photos that have also, images from the episodes that have actually been released, some of the more prominent ones that are relevant for us as Superman fans and Supergirl fans. I will be showing them as I'm reading. So I'll just grab those and get those set up first. And it says here that episode 1, The Flash of Elseworlds, when Barry Allen and Oliver wake up one morning and realize they have swapped bodies with each other, the two set off to find out what disturbed the timeline to cause such a shift. However, things quickly go from bad to worse when they present their case to Team Flash, and the gang doesn't believe them. Barry and Oliver realize they need Supergirl's help and travel to Smallville on Earth 38, where they end up meeting Kara's cousin Clark Kent and intrepid reporter Lois Lane. LaMonica Garrett guest stars as the Monitor. Now, Earth 38? Is that Supergirl's Earth?
Yes, I believe it is.
Okay. So there's LaMonica Garrett as
I believe
Monitor.
They established that. I forget when they established that, but they established it.
Okay. Now, we also have episode 2, which is from the Arrow episode portion of that. It says, with Oliver and Barry still stuck in each other's bodies, the two get a lead on John Deegan and head to Gotham City with Supergirl to figure out why their reality has changed. While there, they meet the mysterious Kate Kane, who provides them with information that leads to the group to go to Arkham Asylum. I love this image here with Lois has got her hand over her mouth, Kara's a little bit perplexed, and Clark's like, what the...
Yeah, more than likely, I'm willing to bet anything that's when they come to the dimension. Because Kara looks less perplexed than the other two.
Exactly. And then episode 3 of Elseworlds says Supergirl, The Flash, Green Arrow, and Superman engage in the battle of their lives, and that's all we know, obviously, because there will be too many spoilers if they reveal too much more. And I'm loving these images, seeing so much of Clark and Lois and Kara together, and there is Batwoman, played by Australian actress Ruby Rose.
I love seeing Clark and Kara in Star Labs. That's really cool. Batwoman, that costume is just so great. They just nailed all of that. I'm just so glad they were able to do that and make it look so effective. And I feel bad for Steve Amell. He looks really uncomfortable in that costume.
I was just about to say the same thing. Poor guy looks like the suit is so tight for him. I mean, he's in great shape, but his abs just look like he's been drinking gallons of beer there.
I think it's because he and Grant are so physically different. Grant's there was a bit of controversy at the beginning of the seasons because some people were body shaming him for looking so skinny, but he's in amazing shape. He's just a thin guy. He's just, there's slender builds. It's like when you look at like Brandon Routh compared to Henry Cavill's a tank.
Yes.
He's just massive. He's got a barrel chest. Brandon Routh was in great shape, but he's like 90% torso. So
he's got a swimmer's body.
So it's just a different. It's a different thing.
Different
physique. They almost would have been better putting Amell in a costume closer to John Wesley Shipp, because John Wesley Shipp was a pretty big guy. When he did the Flash, he was in he had the big barrel chest too. So, but no, I just just everything about it. There's some conversation in the chat about Clark holding that bottle. I just assumed it was root beer, but whatever. We've seen Kara drink before.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I haven't really zoomed in to see what's on the label of the beer, but they could just be socializing and drinking it for the taste of it. Doesn't necessarily mean that they think they're going to get drunk or whatever. It could just be what you do as growing up as humans. You grab a bottle and have a drink. So it doesn't really mean much. It's not going to affect them.
What it does mean is that they're going to be having a pretty serious conversation. So what I'm kind of hoping is that she's talking about recent events and getting some good scenes between them before the action really starts.
Yeah. Now, you mentioned the banner poster that they released, which has also been released in 3 different panels to identify the 3 different episodes that this Elseworlds crossover takes part in. But as a whole, this banner was released. There's been some discussion about who the robot thing is next to the Flash played by Stephen Amell. Anything you know about that?
I saw that and I have no idea. I really don't. It's not a Doom Patrol thing.
It's not
don't
Metallo.
think it's gonna. It's not Metallo. I don't know.
Yeah. No.
I thought maybe at first it might be a shadow demon, but it really doesn't look like a shadow demon.
No, not at all. And then you've got in the background they've got their supporting cast members from the Flash series. Then in the middle panel with Grant Gustin as Green Arrow, you've not only got some of the cast members from that show, but you've also got Batwoman and the Monitor there. And then on the right-hand side, you've got Supergirl with not only Lois Lane and Superman, but you've also got that black-suited Superman that you mentioned. But what is Lois holding? It appears to be some kind of hammer.
Huh. That's a really good question. That was a really good thing to put in this picture because it's making us talk about it.
Yeah, I mean, is it Steel's hammer? Is it some kind of weapon that they've, had to bring forward to try to fight the Monitor?
If Shaquille O'Neal shows up in this thing, I will lose my damn mind. I swear to God.
So it's a great image. It's a great poster. A lot of people are already using it as their desktop wallpaper or whatever. So, yeah, we don't know who that is on the left of Stephen Amell. We don't know what Lois is holding. But some people are asking, is it Bane next to him? But I don't think that's Bane.
No.
That's definitely not Bane. So, yeah, we'll just have to wait and see. There's obviously things thrown in there to keep us talking, to keep us guessing. And I cannot wait for it to start Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday of this week.
One last thing about the banner. Kudos to the CW for catering to all tastes, because not only do you have some attractive women on it, but you've got Grant Gustin showing his butt to the camera. So good on you guys. I'm happy about that.
Yeah, it's definitely one of those comic book cover shots, isn't it, where they have the person turn in a most awkward and sometimes impossible position. But he's got his butt turned to the camera and turning around to shoot the arrow. It's definitely a very comic book thing to do.
Absolutely.
And yes, we will see Gotham City in this crossover because, as I read earlier, they will travel to Gotham City where they will meet Batwoman, who will also join them in finding out some further information to answer John's question in the comments there. So that's where we're at with the Elseworlds crossover. Let's push on. Don't worry about taking a break. Let's keep going. Let's talk comic books. And Action Comics 1005 came out this week. I know I saw on Facebook that you're saying how much you're enjoying Action Comics. Mario Benici, our reviewer, only gave this issue a 3 out of 5, saying he didn't feel like much happened this issue, but he felt like it's dragging on, and that's kind of one of the complaints I hear often about Brian Michael Bendis, is that while he's a good storyteller, he really is slow in his pacing and drags out stories to some people's reasoning. But I'm like you, I'm really enjoying this storytelling. I like drawn out stories, not that they're being padded out, but that they're keeping us going. There's still a lot in there to keep us guessing, to keep us interested. And this revelation about the Red Cloud and who it is, it was just like another cliffhanger to keep us going.
First, this is some of the best Clark Kent as a reporter that we've seen in the comics in a long time. And it's nothing against what the Rebirth people were able to do, because I haven't counted panels and all that, but I think we saw more of the Daily Planet staff during Rebirth than we did through in those 2 years. I think we saw more there than in most of the New 52. So to see him, I don't know if you do this, but now when I get a new issue of Action Comics, I spend like 15 minutes studying the first page and all the little Easter eggs and the notes and the everything, just trying to figure out, all the little hidden things that Bendis threw in there. But we really got like why Clark Kent's essential. Like, why he's needed, because he can go talk to the fire chief and get the information, and then Superman gets involved, but only after because Clark was able to get in there, had a great shirt rip. Oh, that looks so good. And then after half the issue was a lot of dialogue and a lot of stuff to sink your teeth into, and the question shows up and we got the dial, then it's just Superman in a really neat fight with the Red Cloud, and like you said, that great cliffhanger ending. I understand that some people don't get how Bendis structures his stories, and maybe I'm so used to them that I don't really notice that, because this all feels like, oh yeah, this feels like exactly where we need to be. But no, it's just like, Superman is great, don't get me wrong. That 5th issue was amazing, and just seeing Zod and all that. But this is the book where I'm like getting my full Superman experience, where I get to see Clark and Superman and the Daily Planet and the, like Perry. There's little things with Perry, like on Clark's phone on the first page, there is a text at the top from Perry that says, "I need your article now." And I just thought that was a great little touch.
Yeah.
Why is he talking to Manhunter? Because he's talking to Kate, because he dodges 2 calls from Kate Spencer, who was Manhunter. It's just like Bendis is having a feast with the DC universe, and we are like this story is so good, and I'm just so glad that it is taking the time it's taking.
Yeah, and the question thrown into things like that as well, and an interesting, element to throw into that story as well. Not a character that you necessarily see in Superman stories that often.
The only other time was that Question miniseries from 2004 during Superstorm that I reviewed for the homepage and I hated. I mean, it was fine. It just shouldn't have been associated with Superman. But no, if you're going to give somebody to write the Question that isn't Greg Rucka, give him to Bendis, because he'll do a very good job with that character.
And while it's not related to the story, the variant cover was really cool and is now the background of our website at the moment.
Yeah.
Very obviously topical for the time of year that it is, with Superman coming down with the Santa's red sack of presents and the kids in the snowman looking up at him. Just a great image. Like I said, nothing to do with the story in itself, but a great image nevertheless.
Yeah, it's currently the lock screen of my iPad. So when I turn it on there, it's just so perfect.
Yeah.
And it's Christmas season, so it makes sense.
Yeah, exactly. Now, DC Comics this week revealed the cover for one of their new books that are coming out in the DC Zoom imprint. And DC Zoom are aimed at middle grade readers, graphic novels that will star Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, and other more of your favourite DC superhero characters. Now, they revealed the cover for a book called Dear Justice League, which is this one right here. Where is it? Dear Justice League. There is the cover of the book. It's written by Michael Northrop, New York Times best-selling author. It's illustrated by Gustavo Duarte, and this is really interesting because it says here that DC in Dear Justice League, the greatest heroes in the DC universe, the Justice League, find time in between saving the world to answer mail from their biggest fans. Kids, hot button questions like, does Superman ever make mistakes? What was Wonder Woman's 11th birthday like? Does Aquaman smell like fish? These will be answered, giving readers the inside scoop into everyday heroics. The Justice League's honest and humorous answers will surprise and delight fans of any age, as it turns out that being a superhero is not too different from being a kid.
Yeah, that's going to be adorable.
I love the cover.
I like it. Yeah, it's a great cover. Aquaman looks... He doesn't look like any Aquaman I've ever seen. He looks like a dad. Yeah, he does have a bit of a mullet, doesn't he? But I just love that, Superman looks concerned. They got the cyborg from like Teen Titans Go with that grin on his face, and Hawk Girl. Again, I think DC, I really hope that their initiatives work. Because unlike the New 52, where they tried to fit every peg into a round hole, no matter what shape it was, here they're really trying to throw that net wide to grab as many readers as possible. So we're going to have younger readers, we're going to have kid readers, we're going to have adults, and it seems like they're making all these things so the all ages stuff is literally all ages, but there's also stuff to appeal to you if you like darker things. So, good on them for trying to make this work. I really hope it does. I hope this is what turns them around.
Yeah, and the thing is that they're really getting in on this early, because this book is available for pre-order now, but it won't hit stores until August 2019. So that's a long lead time. I don't understand why.
Well, I guess they're giving that artist plenty of time to draw this thing.
So yeah, it's available for pre-order now, but it won't come out until August 6th, 2019. So we'll try to remember about it as it gets closer. But let's look at the comic books that are a bit closer to home. It's the ones that are coming out this week. And there's a few that are out this week, and we'll check them out right now. We've got Adventures of the Super Sons #5. The Dissection of a Superboy is what the cover says there. That's out this week. Also out this week is, finally, after a couple of weeks' delay, Doomsday Clock #8, which is available in this variant cover as well, which is a kind of cool Superman cover. And this is a very Superman-centric issue, finally, after quite a bit of Batman has been played out throughout this series so far. Also available this week is Justice League #13, which also comes in this variant cover by Jay Lee, who's an artist that some people love, some people hate. And also available in trades and hardcovers, Injustice 2 Volume 4 hardcover, and then Injustice 2 Volume 3 trade paperback. Also out this week is Trinity Volume 4 The Search for Steve Trevor trade paperback. And they are the books coming out this week that Superman fans might want to check out.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to Doomsday Clock, and not at all surprised that it's late. I think it's really disappointing that they can't get that out on a regular basis. It seems like a big book for them, and this feels like 2008, not 2018.
Yeah, I don't know what goes on there. I don't know whether it's between Jeff Johns or whether it's between what's his name, the artist,
Gary Frank.
But I do think if these it's a 12-issue limited series, and I've said this before many times over the years that you and I have been doing these podcasts and videocasts, that if it's 12-issue series, get 12 issues in the can, and then just sporadically release them as you need to, like on a regular basis. Don't start publishing something that's not completed, especially if it's a limited series. It's not like it's topical that it needs to come out at a particular time because, if we don't do it now, we're going to be missing out on something. It's just like, get the story out, publish it monthly, and you'll have it out within a year. But this way, like, I have to kind of scratch my head to remember what happened in issue 7, now that issue 8's come out kind of like 6 weeks down the track.
But here's the kind of funny thing is that when it's all out, that's really not going to matter anymore. Because then you're going to have it as it's like Watchmen itself was late towards the end. Dark Knight Returns, or Dark Knight as it was called, and then eventually it became known as Dark Knight Returns. That was late. But here's the thing about those is that those were two series that had no bearing on the rest of the DC universe. And DC has made it clear that this is something that is going to have a bearing on the DC universe. And I think when you do that, look, I know that there's, we've been fighting this battle, and when I joked that it feels more like 2008, I wasn't really joking because we went through that period, especially, remember in 2007 where there was like 2 months where there were no Superman comics? Like, just not there at all. But and how obnoxious that was. And I remember there were creators at the time that were basically saying, well, we don't want fill-in artists because it'll throw off how the thing looks later. And their theory was, once this is done, it's going to be kind of its own little thing, so it's not going to matter. But it matters to the people that are reading it now. So why are you you're basically betting on the fact that this will sell so well later on that it doesn't matter that you're annoying readers right now. Yeah, it's that juggle between publishing for the trade and the collected editions versus publishing for the here and now. And I think while there is a market for those trades and collected editions that are not the regular comic book readers, it's still the regular comic book readers like yourself with the death of Superman who go out and buy every collected edition that they put together. So, if it's a story that annoys the fans because
that reader regularly because it came out so late, they're going to be the ones that go, oh, that series, that pissed me off. I'm not going to go buy the trade.
Yeah, and it's just, I get it. Gary Frank needs to draw this entire thing. Jeff Johns obviously needs to write this entire thing.
100%.
Final Crisis, I don't think it suffered from the switch in artist towards the end from J.H. Williams to Doug Mahnke. But it definitely, when you're reading it, you notice the shift. So, the question is, do you want it now or do you want it good? The answer to that is, you're professionals. I want both because I'm your customer. And maybe that's being an annoying, obnoxious fan. And it's like one of those things that, I almost see their point, but at the end of the day, I got to side with my own people. So, I can't take their side and be like, well, it doesn't matter. Well, it does. It really does. It not only matters to us as readers, it matters to retailers that order these books and want to bank on those sales.
Now, I've got to quickly jump before we get to the end of this episode onto the fact that the Rocksteady Studios rumor was going around that we're going to get a Superman announcement, a video game for Superman. It was going to happen on December 6th with the Game Awards, where Rocksteady Studios, who created the hugely popular Batman Arkham series, would be announcing that they'd have a game called Superman World's Finest because the listing appeared on game system requirements. But sadly, the the co-owner, the game developer, Sefton Hill, game director and co-founder, said on Twitter that their next announcement is not a Superman video game. He says when it's ready, you'll see it first, but he said, spoiler, it's not Superman. So their announcement coming out on December 6th, sadly, is not a Superman video game. Sorry, folks. I know everyone was really hopeful.
I wanted it. I'm not holding my breath. Look, Superman has not had a stellar history in video games. I honestly think the best one was that Shadow of Apocalypse game that came out in the early 2000s. It had a lousy ending, but it was a really fun game to play. And the Superman Returns game was a huge disappointment. And it's just, he doesn't have the Arkham series like Batman does. So
sad news.
Absolutely.
We'll have to wait a little bit longer. Alright, well that pretty much brings us to the end of tonight's program, but before we do sign off, I'd like to thank everyone for watching tonight's show, and thank you to everyone in the comments on Facebook for participating in the show, and a big thank you to you, my co-host Michael Bailey. Glad to have you back. It was good having Neil back last week, but Michael Bailey's, there is only one.
Yeah, there can be only one. I've killed all the others.
So thanks, Mike.
Thank you, sir. Pleasure as always.
Now, a huge thank you to our sponsor and patron, Douglas Meacham. If you want to sponsor the Superman homepage, please head to patreon.com/Superman homepage. You too can be a sponsor for as little as $3. The complete 1 hour video of tonight's show will remain available on the Superman homepage website and our Facebook page if you'd like to watch it back or perhaps miss part of the show. But we'll be back next week on Tuesday, December 11th at 7:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time for another edition of WGBS TV Live. Look forward to talking with you then. Until then, be sure to check out supermanhomepage.com for all your daily news updates on everything surrounding the Man of Steel. I'm Steve Yunus on behalf of myself and Michael Bailey. Thanks for watching WGBS TV Live, brought to you by supermanhomepage.com.